Our phrase for today is dark secrets. Welcome back to WWH. My name is Andrew Dreamer, and today we are going to be looking at 5 more professional wrestlers who appeared in horror movies. The last time we did this, it was actually the very first official video on the channel, and I will link that video right up here. It's strange to see how far we've come since then, and honestly, it's hard for me to even go back and watch those older videos. But regardless of that, I love when wrestling and horror movies intersect. They are 2 of my favorite things, and both fan bases have honestly just become used to having to defend what they love. So there's even some more common ground there. My point is, there are a lot of professional wrestlers who crossed over into horror. I'm excited to dive in, so let's head down to the ring to get this show started. Starting us off is Hornswoggle, who appeared as the titular character in Leprechaun Origins. Look, the Leprechaun franchise is not known for having the highest quality of films, but this one is just on a whole other level. I can have a lot of fun with most of the films in the series, and I love the way that Warwick Davis portrayed the character, and I even thought that Lyndon Porco did a great job in Leprechaun Returns. Leprechaun Origins is about 2 couples who, while backpacking through Ireland, discover a small town secret. They offer hikers a stay at a cabin that is essentially an offering to the leprechaun. Now, this film has no connections to the other films in the series and is honestly just not good. It was produced by WWE Studios and, like I said, stars Hornswoggle as the leprechaun. The leprechaun in this movie is a grotesque creature that doesn't speak, taking away what is possibly the best aspect of the character outside of Origins. But the biggest issue is the fact that you hardly ever get to see the creature at all. Like, seriously, if you're going to redesign the character completely, at least show us what it looks like. But the little that we do get to see actually looks pretty good. The effects were decent, so why not show them off, making your movie more appealing? It honestly seems like they wanted the movie to be generic in every way. And I'm not saying anything bad about Swoggle's portrayal. He actually does a good job with what he's given. I just would have liked to see him given a little bit more freedom within the character, and that's my biggest takeaway. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps me out a lot. And also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done that. We're closing in on 600, and I'm eagerly anticipating hitting that 1,000 subscriber mark, so any help would be greatly appreciated. Next up, we have Gene Snitsky, who appeared in a film called 100 Acres of Hell. This film is about a former professional wrestler named Buck Severs who goes to a wildlife preserve with some of his friends. During their outing, they become the targets of a manhunt that is being orchestrated by mutants. The former sports entertainer must find the fight within himself to stop the attackers. So basically, Buck left wrestling because of some personal tragedies and some injuries. He's been in a dark place and kind of off the grid for about 3 years up until now. His old buddies call him up and convince him to take a trip to this wildlife reserve that has been shut down for years. Along the way, they find out the place has some dark secrets. And I've got to say, Buck's friends are literally the worst friends. They use his name and popularity to help themselves in any way they can. They even sort of make fun of him when he says that he doesn't want to hunt because he doesn't want to be around death, and ignore him completely as they just start shooting at the deer anyway. And beyond that, they're all annoying. You hate all of them, but I will say, him having friends like this is something that a lot of professional wrestlers really deal with. It's actually sad, and that's why a lot of circles are really small. The only bright spot in this movie is Snitsky as the lead character. His acting isn't great, but he's just so imposing that it works. Other than that, this just feels like a dollar store version of Wrong Turn.
He's going to kill you.
Oh no!
The acting is terrible, the audio is trash, and the cinematography is lacking severely. The editing is choppy and amateur, and the lighting is non-existent. I don't mean to be harsh, but this was not a good movie. I do think the potential was there to do something pretty good had this been in different hands, but it is what it is. All in all, it's still cool to see Snitsky do something other than punting a baby live on TV. It wasn't his fault.
It wasn't my fault!
Next on our list is Triple H. The WWE head of creative was in Blade Trinity back in 2004, and honestly, I enjoyed him in the movie. I know the third Blade film gets a lot of hate, and maybe understandably so, but you know what? I think it's good. It's fun, and it's not really straightforward horror, but it's at least horror adjacent. Triple H plays a vampire named Jarko Grimwood. Maybe the name could use some work, but I think his character is pretty cool. And he has this really cool fight scene with Ryan Reynolds towards the end of the film. And they both sold it really well. Triple H obviously isn't a trained actor, and that shows a little bit, but his dedication and hard work carries him through this movie. Another thing I want to point out is you can really see just how big Triple H is when he's alongside the other actors in this film. It's easy to forget when he's in the ring with people like The Undertaker or Batista. Blade Trinity was the only horror movie the Cerebral Assassin appeared in, but considering some of the other appearances out there, it definitely could have been worse. I mentioned Batista a few seconds ago, and that was intentional. Batista appeared in the movie Army of the Dead in 2021. It's a zombie movie directed by Zack Snyder, and while it leans more into the action, zombies are a huge horror element. He plays a mercenary who puts a team together to retrieve something from Las Vegas before the city is completely destroyed via nuke. Honestly, I wasn't the biggest fan of this movie. It just wasn't something that I was interested in. It was also really long, and I got bored. It just wasn't for me. I thought the movie was well made though, and Batista has really come into his own as an actor and does a great job here. He also appeared in Knock at the Cabin. Again, his performance is probably the best part of the movie. I have a love-hate relationship with M. Night Shyamalan movies. Some of them are really good and some are pretty bad. This one leans more towards the latter. It wasn't quite as engaging as some of his other films in my opinion, but all in all, I really liked seeing somebody like Batista finding success in mainstream cinema after retirement from the ring. And even better, he's showing he's not afraid to dive into the horror genre. I really appreciate that. We're coming up on our main event, but first we have to take a short break. So stick around and we'll be right back with more WWH action. If you're looking to save 20% off of your entire order from Redcon 1, look no further because all you have to do is go to checkout and use code AndrewDreamer and you will immediately save 20% off of your order. Also, head over to ProWrestlingTees.com/AndrewDreamer and check out my store. You can get some really cool t-shirt designs. You can get Andrew Dreamer t-shirts. You can get a Wrestling with Horror t-shirts. And last but not least, head over to Patreon and consider becoming a member of the WWH Universe. There's some cool perks and we'd love to have you. Welcome back to WWH. We have one more entry on this list, so let's get back down to the ring for our main event. In 2011, Kurt Angle appeared in a film called River of Darkness. We actually reviewed that movie on the channel, so I'll link that video right up here in case you want to check it out. In this movie, Angle plays Sheriff Will Logan, who is investigating murders in his small riverside town. During his investigation, he learns of some very dark secrets the town has kept hidden for years.
They say that the Jacob boys have come back from the dead. They've come back for their revenge.
What he doesn't expect is that the killers he is searching for have been dead for 30 years. This film also stars several other wrestlers as well, but maybe we'll save those for part 3 of this series. In my review, I stated this movie would have benefited from a bigger budget and a few tweaks to the script, and I stand by that. Kurt Angle has pretty good acting ability and was kind of wasted in this movie. Had he been given more to do, I really think he would have shined, and he definitely deserves that chance. All in all, this movie had good potential, but the execution just wasn't there. Kurt Angle has been in a couple other horror films as well, but this is the one that I really wanted to hone in on for this list. Alright, that is going to do it for 5 more professional wrestlers who appeared in horror movies. If you think I left any out, let me know down in the comments, and I'll be sure to include those next time. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. We have a lot more coming your way very soon, but until then, my name is Andrew Dreamer, and this is Wrestling with Horror.